Since the first episode of this show had a completely different structure from the traditional first episode of a Power Rangers season, I was questioning how the rest of the season was going to play out, and if it was going to introduce a new Ranger every episode, or just have Shelby and Tyler as a crime-fighting duo for a while. But because we had that cliffhanger at the end of the first episode, it's hard for me to see where the show is going, so hopefully the second episode will give me a clearer idea. This is episode 2, Past, Present, and Fusion. The episode opens on a ranch where a character named Riley is caught training with a sword by his brother. The brother asks Riley to do his chores, so Riley puts his sword away and begins to head out, but stops when he notices his dog is gone. Riley goes out to find his dog and eventually finds him in the woods, barking at Fury. Fury then tries to kill the dog, but Riley grabs a nearby metal beam and steps in to protect him. Using the beam, Riley gets into a sword fight with Fury and is able to hold his own in the fight, even when Fury starts blasting him. However, Fury manages to knock Riley down with a blast that sends the beam flying into a rock that reveals the green energem inside. Riley goes to retrieve the beam from the rock, and as he tries to pull it out, the power of the energem transforms the beam into a sword. With his new weapon, Riley takes on Fury once again, this time striking Fury down and deflecting one of Fury's blasts at a tree branch that falls on him. With Fury down, Riley gets the energem out of the rock before heading back to the ranch with his dog. Sometime later, Riley's mother allows him to go to the city for the summer, so Riley says goodbye to his family before beginning his journey on a scooter. Cut to Shelby and Tyler driving down the road where they see Riley with a manual in his broken down scooter. Tyler stops and asks Riley if he needs any help, and after a humorous scene of Riley's manual flying away, he joins the two teens on their way back to the city. As the three drive down the road, Tyler stops again when he notices a woman next to a flipped car that has a person under it. The woman asks if they can help her husband, so the teens go to the car where Riley notices the gas is leaking. The three try to push the car over, and with the power of the energems, send the car flying before it explodes. The teens take a look at the now glowing energems, and Tyler realizes that Riley is going to the museum like he and Shelby when he notices Riley's energem. When they get to the museum, Shelby leads them to the loading dock where she sees Chase and Coda walking by. Shelby tries to get their attention, but ends up losing them before Tyler and Riley notice a T-Rex head. Tyler asks Shelby to take a picture for him inside the T-Rex's mouth, but before she can, Tyler activates a secret entrance and falls through. Man, why are the secret passages activated by dinosaur heads in Power Rangers? Shelby and Riley follow Tyler through the entrance, ending up in an underground lab where they find the blue and black energems at a charging station. When the teens pull out their energems, they are drawn to the charging station as well before the Keeper arrives. Keeper introduces himself to the teens and tells them where the energems came from before Chase, Coda, and Miss Morgan show up.
You fought to defend a stranger at great risk to yourself. That's why the red energem chose you, Tyler. Your discipline and intelligence have given you the skills to protect others. The green energem was very wise to choose you, Riley. Shelby. Why the pink energem chose you is anyone's guess.
Well, that seemed unnecessarily rude. Coda and Chase reveal that they found the other two energems and welcome the others to their team of Power Rangers. Ms. Morgan says that while 5 energems have been found, 5 more are still missing, so the Rangers must use their powers to find them before they fall into evil hands. Shelby finds this whole thing overwhelming and says that she just wants to dig for dinosaur bones not bond to one before an alarm goes off signaling seismic activity outside. Chase says they should check out the situation and Tyler and Riley say they're in, but as the group starts to leave, Shelby is hesitant to join them. Keeper tells Shelby that the world needs her help, but Miss Morgan says it's still Shelby's decision, adding that this mission is too dangerous for a waitress. In response, Shelby says that while she's a little scared, the team needs her because of her knowledge on dinosaurs, adding that she wants to help. The teens grab their energems and chargers as they head outside, but Tyler's energem doesn't move, so Keeper tells him he must stay until they figure out what's interfering with the energem's power. Tyler agrees, so the others head outside where they find an erupting volcano. However, the T-Rex Zord appears out of the volcano, and Miss Morgan exposits that whenever someone activates an energem, their Zord is awakened and that the Zord is destabilizing the red energem's power. Noticing that the T-Rex Zord is headed toward the city, Miss Morgan hands Tyler his Dino Chargers, saying she created them to contain each energem's power, and that when the chargers run out of power, they recharge them in that lab. Miss Morgan goes on to say that the chargers will power Tyler's weapons as well as morph him into battle mode, so Tyler grabs the red energem before heading to the city. No explanation of why he can suddenly do that now, huh? Okay. At the city, the frost monster from the last episode begins freezing the place and orders some foot soldiers to merge together and form giant monsters called Visizords. As the creatures begin attacking the city, the T-Rex Zord arrives to stop them but ends up getting frozen by the frost monster.
I hope you came to get back the red energem!
You mean this?
You broke my ice! You pay for that!
It's morphin' time! Dino Charger, ready!
T-Rex Charger, engage!
Energize!
Yeah, that's more like it. Using a Dino Charger, Tyler powers up the T-Rex Zord before the Frost Monster orders the foot soldiers to attack. Working together, Tyler and the T-Rex Zord are able to take down a Visizord as well as some foot soldiers. Tyler tells the Zord he can handle the rest on his own, but the Frost Monster says Tyler can't win alone, at which point the other Rangers arrive. Coda tells Chase that the monster is in fury, but Chase says whatever it is, it's about to learn who they are, before he's interrupted by Shelby, who tries to morph with the Charger. After Coda instructs her on how to use it, the 4 Rangers morph into action and begin fighting. What follows is a pretty decent action scene that has the Rangers defeating the foot soldiers, the T-Rex Zord taking down another Visizord, and Tyler combining the Zord's power with his own to finally finish off the Frost Monster. After the fight, the Rangers go back to the lab where Riley comments how his brother will react to all this, but Miss Morgan says no one must know what they're doing. Chase goes to Keeper and asks about the new monster, since Keeper told him there were no other monsters on Earth except Fury, and Keeper tells him that the Frost Monster must have belonged to Sledge, who has returned somehow. Keeper goes on to say that Sledge will destroy anything to get the Energems, including the Rangers themselves, and the episode ends on board Sledge's ship where he asks which one of his captures can destroy him a Power Ranger. This episode is a lot like what I was expecting the first episode of this show to be, by setting up the status quo as well as establishing the structure of the season. However, that doesn't mean that the first episode of this show should be overlooked, since it gives us some backstory on the Energems, as well as some great character development with Tyler and Shelby. And I am really happy that the show continued that great character development with Riley at the beginning of this episode. Like Tyler and Shelby, I understand who Riley is as someone who is completely bored with his cowboy lifestyle and wants to experience some adventure. And he finds that adventure through being a Power Ranger, which he thinks is really awesome, making him instantly relatable to the audience as a character. However, while the episode gives us a good character in Riley, it kind of diminishes Shelby's character, trying to make it look like she's in over her head. While I respect the show for trying to set up a character arc for Shelby, nothing that happens in this episode really fits with what happened in the last episode. For instance, when Miss Morgan says she doesn't know why the Pink Energem chose Shelby, it doesn't make any sense, because the last episode showed very clearly that Shelby risked her life to protect the Energem from the Frost Monster because the 2 guys that Miss Morgan said were worthy of the Energems were too busy to notice they were being robbed. And that line, coupled with the one where Miss Morgan calls Shelby just a waitress, really makes her unlikable as a character in my opinion. Another thing that didn't make any sense was the explanation for why Tyler had to stay in the lab while the other Rangers checked out the volcano. It's implied that Tyler couldn't get his Energem from the charging station because the T-Rex Zord was using the gem's power to break out of the volcano after it awoke, but that's completely contrary to the last episode where the Zord showed up in the woods when Tyler and Shelby were fighting the Frost Monster. There's also no explanation for why Tyler can get the Energem by the end of that scene, so the whole situation comes off as a cheap way for Miss Morgan to give out exposition and also separate Tyler from the others. But that did lead to a pretty awesome sequence of Tyler using his Dino Charger to morph for the first time. I really do like the Dino Chargers because they're small enough for the team to believably carry them around, plus the morphers themselves don't actually appear unless the Chargers are activated. And while the morphing sequence itself might be a little long, since Tyler does more than just stand in one spot, it really didn't bother me. The suits are also pretty cool, having more of a Wild Force vibe to them, and while the helmet designs are a little weird, I appreciate them for their uniqueness. Still, I do wish the action sequence in this episode used the suits to their fullest potential. With the Rangers being as maneuverable as they are in the suits, I was expecting something as fast-paced as the fight scenes from last season, if not better, but this fight seemed really slowed down. Now that's not to say there aren't any good moments. I mean, the T-Rex Zord was pretty awesome, Tyler's fight with the Frost Monster was cool, no pun intended, and Riley's sword fighting really got me excited for future fight scenes that he'll have. Overall, this episode is okay. While it's nowhere near as good as the last episode, it does enough with character and story to make it necessary for the season, as well as entertaining in some parts. But because of the plot hole in the middle, I can't really recommend it, so if you're going to watch this episode, I'd say skip through the part in the underground lab, and you should have a good time. I'm Nick, aka Iron Man 1993, and may the power protect you.